Okay, I'm picking up with the AOS checklist of North and Middle American birds. And I stopped in the last video or in a previous video at order Pelecaniformes that includes birds like herons. And I'm picking up at the next order, which is Cathartiformes. This is a group of birds that includes our New World vultures. And where we are in the Pacific Northwest, turkey vulture is the only representative you're likely to see. Although if you're in another part of the country, you could see other types. So turkey vulture. They used to be grouped together with eagles and hawks, but they're unique enough. There's a lot of genetic and other sorts of information has revealed that they're kind of very unique group. The next order, Piciformes, includes eagles, osprey, and our hawks. Okay, but it's not all of our daytime hunting raptors. It does not include our falcons. And so, but there are a lot of raptors that you could find here this time of year, including osprey. So osprey have arrived as of about a month ago, and they're being very vocal right now. They're engaging in nesting behavior. So keep an eye out in the air for the flight silhouette of an osprey and for their vocalizations. And that's family Pandionidae. Family Accipitridae includes our most common raptor, which is the red-tailed hawk. Red-tailed hawk can be commonly seen soaring around the area. And there's a joke in the Pacific Northwest and in a lot of other places when people tell you they've seen some amazing raptor and they think it's something really rare. And you'll often hear an experienced birder say, "Prove to me it's not a red-tailed hawk." Because red-tailed hawks actually are pretty highly variable in their plumage and appearance. But they're also our largest hawk. You can also find our bird hunting hawks, our more forest accipiter hawks, which include sharp-shinned hawk and Cooper's hawk. Sharp-shinned and Coopers look very similar to one another. They're very closely related to one another. And the female sharp-shins and the males Coopers are very close in body size to one another. And so looking at the tail can be one of the more useful features. Cooper's has a more rounded looking tail with the outer rex a little bit shorter than the inner rex, whereas a sharp-shinned hawk tends to have a more square tail. And there's some other elements about its profile in flight that are different between sharp-shinned and Coopers. Those are our most common hawks to be found around here this time of year. You can also find northern harrier. Northern harrier are sometimes, when people first see them, initially mistaken for owls because they have really large heads and very large forward-pointing eyes. They tend to soar very low over vegetation looking for rodents. And so you can often see a diagnostic white rump on these birds. And so if you can see that, you know you're looking at a northern harrier. Strigiformes are owls, and within the Strigiformes there are two major families, Titanidae, which is barn owl. There are actually two species within Titanidae, but the one that we can observe here is barn owl, which sometimes nests in bluffs and holes in bluffs and can be found in agricultural areas as well. And then family Strigidae, which includes all of the other owls that you could find around here. The most common owls that you can encounter, say, in a forest around here is actually the barred owl, which has actually expanded its range over into the Pacific Northwest in the past century or so. But some other common species are pygmy owl. They're really small and they make a sort of incessant little boop, boop, boop sound. Barred owls have a distinctive who cooks for you all sound. I encourage you to listen to it. And we can find some others. Those are the two most common species. Western screech owls can also be observed, and great horned owls are also pretty commonly encountered here. We don't get trogons here, unfortunately. Cathartiformes. These are in this part of the world, in the Pacific Northwest, this is our kingfisher. And so within Cathartiformes, there are a lot of groups of birds. It's a really interesting order of birds that includes a lot of tropical birds and also kingfishers, which are a pretty diverse group of birds as well. It's family Alcidinidae. And so our representative in alcidinity here is the belted kingfisher. And so look out for them on lakes and also on saltwater areas around here, often perching on snags and other branches that are over the water. Okay, last group I'm going to talk about in this video are the Piciformes. And Piciformes in many ways look kind of like the kingfisher. These are our woodpeckers. And within the order Piciformes, there are actually a number of other groups of birds, okay? And this includes barbets and toucans and all sorts of other interesting tropical birds. What you're going to find here in order Piciformes are birds in the family Picidae. So I'm going to scroll down to Picidae, and these are our woodpeckers. And within Picidae, we have several common species of woodpecker in the area, including downy woodpecker and hairy woodpecker. And so learning to tell the difference between those can be useful. One big clue is the length of its bill from its head to the tip of the bill of a downy tends to be shorter than its head is from front to back. And in a hairy, it tends to be close to the same size or even a little bit larger. If you were to see the birds side by side, you'd also see that they have they're different sizes, but it's hard to tell when you see them by themselves. Red-breasted sapsucker is another woodpecker that's common here, as well as northern flicker and pileated woodpecker. Okay, I'm going to leave off there and pick up in another video with some of these other groups.